for allowing us to host this event, first of all, and thanks to the many constituents of this district, District 21, for volunteering their time to get this together. Thanks to our ushers, our greeters, our organizers. Thanks also to Dullea and Dullea for filming this. And I want to make sure that everyone knows this is being video recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube and also sent to Congresswoman Elise Stefanik. So before we go further, I just want to ask everyone to turn off their cell phones. A few other logistical details. There's a bathroom right in the hallways in the middle between those two table centers. There are exits here to my right and to my left, and of course back there. So as you know, we're here to talk about issues that are important to us and to our district. The open forum of the town hall is a cornerstone of American democracy, and one of the few opportunities we have as citizens to have a real conversation with our elected officials, for us to tell our stories, to ask questions, and for them to listen to us and provide answers about their actions and their votes. Unfortunately, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik couldn't be here with us this afternoon, but the film will be made available to her, as will the questions that you write on the questionnaire that you received when you came in. So before I hand things over to our moderator, can I ask everyone who is able to stand for just a moment? Thank you. Thanks everyone for coming. Thanks for coming whether you voted for Congresswoman Elise Stefanik or whether you voted for someone else. Now, are there any folks in here who are from outside the 21st Congressional District? Anyone? If you are, please sit down. Any members of the press? Okay. If you are, please sit down. Any members of Representative Stefanik's staff? Okay. Please have a seat. Finally, any paid protesters? Okay. Okay, please take a look around you at those who are standing. These are all our friends, our neighbors. These are the people whose children go to school with our children. These are the people we see at Price Chopper, at the post office, the people that we pray next to at our places of worship. And just take a moment to say hello to your neighbor. Introduce yourself if you do not already know each other. Thank you so much, everyone. Please, everyone have a seat. Let's get it started. I need to turn things over to our moderators, our wonderful Lenore Vandenzy, Canton resident. Here she is. Thank you.
Community here today, and it is an absolute pleasure to moderate. I proudly work at SUNY Canton, but I am here moderating today in my capacity as a private citizen. Congresswoman Stefanik has just returned from a trip overseas on congressional business, and her staff told me that she would not be able to be here today. But I do want to encourage the Congresswoman and her staff to watch this video and to read the questions and to really listen to what her constituents have to say. You'll notice that there's a microphone here up front in the middle. That's where you will be able to ask your questions, and as Sarah mentioned, they will be filmed. Please line up behind the blue tape, either in this aisle or that aisle, whichever one is easiest for you to get to, if you would like to speak. I'll go back and forth between the two sides. Each person will get 2 minutes to speak. You're welcome to ask a question, to tell a story, to make a statement, and our timer will hold up signs when you have 30 seconds left and when you have 5 seconds left. I would ask that everyone respect this time limit because we want to allow as many people to ask questions as want to ask questions or make that statement. I would also ask you to refrain from using any profanity as this is a family event and there are children in the room. This is a non-partisan event. Everyone has the right and the privilege to ask their question, to tell their story, to make their statement. And you are welcome to agree or disagree with anything anyone has to say. I would ask that you do that by holding up one of the cards that you received when you walked in, agree or disagree. I would ask that you not clap, cheer, jeer, boo, laugh, any of those things, but that you show your opinion by holding up those cards. And the reason we're doing that is because we want to be sure that everyone feels they have the right to speak and they have the right to be heard. A democratic dialogue requires that we all listen carefully to our neighbors and what they have to say and what they think about our district. With that, I believe we can begin, but first I want to ask how many of you agree with the idea that this is a wonderful practice of democracy? Well done, everybody listen. With that, we can begin. You can please begin lining up behind those blue lines and we'll start the town halls. Don't be shy. Start here, please. Please state your name and where you're from.
My name is Ginger Story Welch, and I'm from Pierpont, New York. And I do not have all of the information. And also because I'm a strong believer in the American principle of innocent until proven guilty, I do not feel that I can make any kind of a final assessment on whether there was or was not collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians over the election. That said, I have deep concerns about the mounting amount of circumstantial evidence, and I'm very concerned about some behaviors by the Trump administration that could appear to be dismissing such an investigation and, diminishing it and things like that. And so I really feel very strongly that the fabric of this nation could be pulled apart if everyone does not believe that whatever investigations occur are totally fair. And I think the only way that can happen is with an independent investigation. And so I call on Stefanik to please do the patriotic thing to keep this nation together and grant us an investigation that everyone can respect and feel comfortable with and trust the outcome. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. A reminder, please state your name and where you're from.
Elise, my name is Jerry Troop. I live in West Potsdam, and I want to first say that I'm disappointed that you're not here because I think that we can have a respectful conversation even though we may disagree. I didn't vote for you, but I expect you'll agree with me on this. I'm very concerned with the level of criminality in this society, and I think that there are a lot of criminals who are getting away with their crimes without adequate punishment. And I think you'd agree with me on that. I think you're probably a good Republican. I think that if somebody was guilty of repeated criminals, repeated felonies, that you would expect it would be a good thing to lock them up. If somebody like Bernie Madoff committed an enormous fraud, that you would agree that they should be locked up. And I think we'd probably agree with that. Now I have a set of criminals in mind, and I'd like to mention one in particular who would exemplify this, and that criminal is the Wells Fargo Bank. This is a corporation that has been repeatedly a criminal, a felon, and a fraud. And In most cases where you have criminals, they get locked up. And it doesn't matter whether their families are dependent on them for a living, they are locked away for the rest of their lives. And my question is, why are we not doing this with Wells Fargo and the other corporations that are criminals? Corporations legally are a person, but it seems to be that they're only a person when it fits their convenience, as in the tax law. I'm curious why we don't treat corporate persons the same way we treat individual persons, that when they are criminals, we lock them up and put them out of business. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a second.
Hello, my name is Lori Davis. I live in
Could you step up a little bit closer to the mic so everyone can hear you?
Hello, my name is Lori Davis, and I live in Canton, New York, and I have a daughter with a disability.
And you can't hear me yet? Don't start my time yet. Okay. Hello, my name is Lori Davis. I live in Canton, New York, and I have a daughter with a disability. And I would like to address my concerns to you. The Republicans, it has to do with the health care reform bill that was dropped, but I don't believe this is far from over. The Republicans are going to bring it up again. My personal concern is about the severe Medicaid cuts that were attached to this health care reform bill, an $870 billion cut to Medicaid. Medicaid services provide more than just health care. For a person with a disability, Medicaid services can be a lifeline to safety, security, and involvement into their community, within their community. We need your support, Elise. The excuse that there is excessive government waste in Medicaid becomes a convenient excuse to make severe cuts without any forethought to the devastating effect this will have on those who truly need our help. My daughter's Medicaid services should not be classified as government waste. Excuse me. I will end this by saying, excuse me, I'm getting very emotional, that you were born the same year as my daughter, in 1984, 3 weeks apart. Yet each of your lives are so different. You're intelligent. My daughter struggles with a mental disability due to no fault of her own. You are financially secure. My daughter relies on Medicaid and government help to live. You have a rewarding job. My daughter is unable to find a job. You can drive a car. My daughter relies on Medicaid for her transportation. It takes no effort for you to be involved in your community. For my daughter, it requires Medicaid services to be in her community. My daughter is a very kind and gentle person and cares about other people, and that is something I wish to see in you. When you decide on your voting, please remember those people who need support with Medicaid. My job is to advocate for my daughter, and your job is to represent us. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Please.
Hello, Representative Stefanik. My name is Natalia Singer, and I'm a professor at St. Lawrence University. I feel very privileged to have the job that I do. And I think, according to perhaps your ideology, you might think that I got there because of hard work. I did get there because of hard work, but I also feel like I won the lottery because of the time in which I was born. I was born during the era that we call the Great Society, where there was a social safety net and people of both parties worked together with the belief that our greatest resource in this nation was not our mineral wealth and the wealth of the billionaires who ran the banks, but the people. And that any impediment in allowing people to prosper and flourish was something that government could try to solve. I was very unfortunate in some ways because I happened to be born in poverty, and I lived below the poverty level until I became a professor. But because of the time in which I was born and the philosophy that both parties shared, I was able to be a beneficiary of various forms of government aid. I had access to an excellent, well-funded public school system. I was able to get 3% college loans when I went to college. I was able to get Medicaid to get my health care. I used Planned Parenthood to get routine care. When I hear that you are part of this party and part of the Congress that wants to cut Medicaid and cut Planned Parenthood, which allows for routine screening for cancers and reproduction, I feel that you do not care that your county is a county in which 1 out of 3 children live in poverty. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I understand that 2 minutes seems really short once you get up here. Once we cycle through everybody who has a question, I will call for people if they want to make a second statement question at that time. So feel like you may have a little bit more time beyond the 2 minutes a little bit later. I also recognize that it might be a little bit awkward to look straight at a camera when you're asking your question. And if that's the case for you, I would invite you to address your question to me if it feels better to look at a person. I see we have no one here, so please.
Good afternoon, Congresswoman. My name is David Duff. I'm from Town Macomb, St. Lawrence County. I'm a registered independent voter. According to an article in the Washington Post, March 8th, the Community Development Block Grant Program, which has enjoyed bipartisan support in Congress, budgeted to receive $3 billion this fiscal year. Trump administration would like to cut those funds entirely. I wonder, Congresswoman, if you understand what that means in St. Lawrence County. St. Lawrence County has used CDBG, Community Development Block Grant Program funds, to assist more than 1,170 low-income families to either buy a home and fix it up or to rehab their home to make it a decent place to live. That's over 3,000 low-income people who got help with their housing in your district. That's 1,170 homes at the low end of the market that received investment and revitalization and were kept from becoming derelict, abandoned properties in your district. That's $26.5 million that was invested in the housing stock of St. Lawrence County. This investment caused an additional $21.8 million in additional mortgage lending by local banks, another $17.9 million in related spending, contractors buying building materials, paying employees, employees buying groceries, other household expenses. So the CDBG program has an economic impact of over $66 million in your county that you represent alone.
Thank you. I'm afraid I'm going to have to cut you off there, so we allow everybody to speak, but you will be invited again to finish.
Thank you very much.
Later. Thank you very much. Please.
Hi, my name is John Dietrich. I'm a resident of Canton. I'm a veteran and a retired federal civil servant. And I know that one of the next things that is going to come up before the Congress is tax reform. And I actually feel we do need tax reform because I feel that everybody needs to pay their fair share. And I hope you look at that in an equitable way so that the upper classes pay as much as the lower classes or more. But the other thing I'd like to bring up is I'd like to see how we can possibly have tax reform or any discussion of it until the president has released his taxes. And I really hope that you consider supporting legislation to make it the law of the land that everybody that runs for office has to release their taxes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congresswoman, my name is Bill O'Reilly, but as you can see, I'm not the real Bill O'Reilly. I have two concerns. One, that in all my conversations with your office, I was unable to determine what your position was in regards to the health care proposed act. So I would ask if you would clarify that position, and what would you propose now specifically about health care? Second concern, of course, is about the proposed cuts to the Environmental Protection Agency. I understand you've made public statements that you're not in favor of abolishing the EPA, and that you think the proposed cut is too severe. However, as we know, a crippled EPA will not benefit us, given the stance of the new director and the stance of the administration. So we thank you for your positive statements in this regard, and hope that you would take positions in regards to the Clean Air and Clean Water Act. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Eileen Raymond. I live here in Canton. I'm a retired person. My economy at my home is based on the savings from my retirement accounts, supplemented by my Social Security and Medicare. I am very concerned about my children and my grandchildren who, if things are going the way they seem to be going, will not have the same benefits that I do of having a mix of things to support me in the years of retirement. Social Security and Medicare were put in place so that there was a floor under every American, and that we didn't have to depend on the vagaries of the stock market and other things. When I retired, my retirement accounts had gone in half. And luckily, because of Social Security, I was not required to cash them in immediately. I was able to give them the time to recover. Not everybody can do that, and certainly without Social Security, I could not have done that. I need to know what your opinion is on all the talk that's going on about the Social Security system, the Medicare system, and its longevity. It appears to me that it is quite possible to have this system exist in perpetuity if everyone pays their fair share. When I hear that a significant number of people who make over $127,000 a year are not paying into Medicare now at this point because they've already met their limit, and I hear that others are not paying their fair share, I think that's something to be fixed. But I don't know what your opinion is, so let me know.
Thank you.
Hi, Congresswoman, I'm back. I wanted to finish my thought. I was talking to you about the CDBG program, and I just wanted to leave the thought with you. It has an impact of over $66 million in St. Lawrence County alone. And it's investing in one of our biggest resources, which is housing. What I want to know from you, Congresswoman, will you oppose the cuts to HUD that are directly have a consequence in your community in the 21st District? Now, I'd like to turn a page and tell you about another important thing in St. Lawrence County in your district, which is public radio and public television. I'm concerned that there is, in the current administration, an effort to cut funds to those public entities. For our region, they're absolutely critical. I would hope and I would ask, will you support keeping those funds for public television and public radio? It would be very essential for the North Country. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, Congresswoman Stefanik. I'm sorry you couldn't be with us today. My name is Karen Johnson-Weiner, and I'm talking to you from Canton, New York. I'm wondering, as we look at the proposed budgets and the numerous cuts, what you or members of your party will do to rein in Donald Trump's constant visits to his own properties. Donald Trump is in violation of the Emoluments Act. We don't know how deeply in violation because we haven't seen his taxes. But every weekend, every 4 days, he goes to one of his properties, which means that taxpayer money is funneled directly to his corporation. We know that the notion of a blind trust seems to have gone out the window. We see wealthy people who can hobnob with world leaders, not to mention Republican leaders, just for joining a golf club. I hope that you will speak up. Money that is spent to protect, for Secret Service protection, for various adult Trump children as they fly around the world doing business that profits themselves, could be spent to support Meals on Wheels, could be spent to support public broadcasting, could be spent to support education, could be spent to help cover EPA costs. Money going directly into Donald Trump's pockets could be spent to benefit us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Laura Gilbert. I'm from South Colton. I didn't really prepare any remarks, but I have a lot of concerns. I'm really worried about this whole thing with Donald Trump and Russia. Last time I checked, the Russian government was not our friend. And I'm really worried about what's going on with that. I'm worried about the health care. They decided not to pursue the vote, but now it looks like they're gearing up again to try to do something which I think was a little untoward with health care. I know Stefanik did work hard to get some coverage for women and children into the Republican bill that was presented, which is, I'm grateful for. It seems that there are a lot of resources that are being spent on people that are wealthy and perhaps don't need them as much. I'm very worried about my neighbors, people that are working hard from early in the morning till late at night and can't get ahead. I just have a lot of real concerns on Trump should release his tax returns. Initially, I thought Stefanik was in favor of that, and it doesn't look like there's a real strong position being taken by her on the tax return issue. Wow, time's going fast. I'm worried about our gay and lesbian friends and how they're going to be treated in the current environment. I'm worried about all kinds of people, minorities and people of color. I just don't think there's a lot of ugliness coming out, which I'm very concerned about. I guess that's it. Thank you. My name is Pat Alden. I'm from Canton. I'm so disappointed that you haven't been able to come up to our communities here in the North Country, Canton, and in St. Lawrence County. It's very moving to me to be in this room because people are talking about our neighbors that I have come to know, the people who do need health care and block grants and other forms of support, including decent education. I got involved with the Church and Community program when I retired, and so I've had a chance to get to know this 20 to 25% of the people in our county, and they desperately need Planned Parenthood for their health care. They desperately need those block grants to help with housing and heat, to help with heat in the winter. You need to know this community, and not hang out with the wealthy Republicans who are typically funding you. You need to know the people up here and what they need.
Thank you.
My name is Susie Wood, and I'm a voter in the town of Hammond. And I want to thank you for the support that you gave to Plan 2014, the new water levels management plan on the St. Lawrence River. That plan helps to protect the ecological integrity of what is the world's largest supply of fresh water on the planet. That is essential, and I'm very grateful to you. But I have a real problem with your inconsistency in also voting to repeal the clean water regulations on streams in the mining country of Appalachia. I don't know why you did that.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Reverend Rodriguez from Messina, New York. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak today. I hope that you are equally grateful for the opportunity to listen, Congresswoman. My question is regarding public education in this country. There really has been a tremendous amount of discussions on that topic since the initial uproar over the nomination of Betsy DeVos. However, with all of the other issues that come to the forefront, I'm just encouraging you to please not let the education issue fall off your own radar, and to please consider making a public stand against legislation that would reduce our education system to vouchers. While a free choice economy for schools might work in some areas of the country, in the vast majority of schools in your district, there is no choice. There is one school per town, and decimating the Department of Education would do nothing but reduce funds to those schools that are desperately needed, and those children will have nowhere else to go. So please, ma'am, do what you can to save our schools. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Margaret Carlo, and it was a great joy and privilege of mine to participate in the Women's March in January, and my favorite sign of the march was so bad even the introverts are here. I'm a self-described introvert, and it's hard for me to be up here speaking publicly, but I do because I am saddened, I am disgusted, and I am shocked at the treatment of immigrants in our country right now. We are a nation of immigrants. My mother immigrated to this country. My father's grandmother immigrated to this country, and I feel that using immigrants as scapegoats for the greed in this country is disgusting and unfair, and we cannot continue to be the great country that we are without the contribution of immigrants. And I hope that Representative Stefanik, you think about your own family tree and family history and those of your constituents, and work to embrace all of us who are American. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Sky Opal, and I'm from Star Lake, New York. And one of the things that's most concerning to me is your inconsistency on environmental law and all of the policies that are being attacked, the money that's being cut from the EPA. And I think a good example of how this impacts the North Country is the acid rain that we endured because of coal burning factories in the Midwest. Now you've rolled back regulations on the coal, which makes your friend Carl Icahn very, very happy and potentially much more wealthy. But what does it do to anyone else? I saw the pictures of Trump in the White House surrounded by people with hard hats who supposedly were miners, but I'm sure that people don't go to the mine for a job because that's what they love to do. It's the only game in town. And to say that you're going to add jobs, that you're going to do all these great things, I want you, Elise, to start getting some backbone and start standing up on the right side of history, because even the Chinese have closed 6,000 coal mines in the last 4 years. And all over the world, people are turning to green energy. I want to see you stand up for green jobs and to protect the environment, and not in a very one day you're for it, one day you're against. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Barbara Beekman. I'm a voter here in Canton, New York. And I just have a comment in general about the proposed budget. People have mentioned some specific things here today. But overall, the cuts that affect rural people are overwhelming. And I think there are some things, public radio, the National Arts funding, those things actually benefit rural people. And right here in Canton, for instance, Tawny is a recipient of grants from those kinds of programs. And so many cuts, Planned Parenthood, money for rural airports, these are all things that we rely on to keep our head above water and to act like they wouldn't be devastating cuts to this district. The schools, the same thing. I think this budget is immeasurably damaging to rural areas, and that you represent an overwhelmingly rural area. And I really, really hope you look closely at these cuts. You know, you're not punishing the liberal elites by cutting public radio. You're really hurting people like us.
Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity to address you, Congresswoman Stefanik. My name is Elizabeth Brennan. I'm from Cape Vincent, New York. And my favorite quote is by Eleanor Roosevelt, and that is to every day do something that scares you. This is my moment today. There are so many things I would like to talk to you about. There are so many things going on that terrify me, that horrify me. Many of them have been spoken about already. One of the things I would like to mention is a proposed bill, 1313. You are a co-sponsor of that bill. I would like to know why. According to my sources, this bill will allow a person, if they work in a company that has a wellness program, and you sign up for that as part of your health insurance, your company and that health insurance company will have access to your DNA. This will negate a lot of laws we have now that protect a person's DNA information. Why are you co-sponsoring this bill? It is horrifying to me that a person's DNA could be out there for a health insurance company to say, oh, look, 10 people with the BRCA gene. Maybe we need to change our policy, our health insurance policy here. Oh, look, this person has this. Now, I don't know their name, but I know they're brown-eyed, so forth and so on. Maybe we need to do something. Maybe that person doesn't need to stay around quite so long. Why would you ever sponsor a bill like this? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kat Gearhart, and I'm from Pottsdale, New York. I work as a sexual assault and domestic violence advocate for people who are victimized in our community, and I am very concerned about potential cuts to the Violence Against Women Act. So I ask that you really take a look at this, and anytime it comes up, vote no for defunding that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Carol Simpson, and I live in Stockholm, and I've been encouraged by other people to get up here because I'm an introvert as well. I just want to ditto everything that everybody said so far, but I want to give a little bit of my own story. The concern, my big concern, is the continued discrepancy in wealth in this country. The 1% continues to get wealthier and wealthier. The wealth and the power keeps getting concentrated in smaller and smaller areas, and it leaves, the power is there. You have total power with the Republicans now, and we need to address this income inequality. It's ridiculous. I can tell you as a previous business owner that if my taxes got cut, I would not hire somebody simply because my taxes got cut. I would need to put that person to work. I would need to have the goods or services demand in the community before I would hire someone. Cutting someone's taxes does not immediately present a corporation or a company with a reason for hiring somebody. And then, if we give all the tax break to the wealthy, they're not going to go out and buy 20 more pair of jeans or more suits or whatever. They have what they need. They're just going to stop and put the money in the stock market and earn more money. That's the way they get rich. So we need to address the income inequality in this country if we are going to get the middle class back and have a decent life to make America great again.
My name is Leah Zelkowitz, and I'm from the town of Canton. And for the past 15 or so years, I've been working with literacy volunteers, which helps both literacy people improve their skills so that they can get GEDs and get jobs, etc. But the other element is that we have ESL people who do not have native English language skills, and so I've been working with many people over the years to improve their skills so that they can get jobs in the community. I'm presently running a class for ESL students. I have 4 people in the class. Their husbands are all Clarkson PhD people. 1 out of the 4 is going to have to leave in July because her H-1 visa is somewhere in the mail. We have people in this community who are here to research and study at Clarkson, and they're a vital part of our community, and they are no longer able to stay here. The other thing that I want to bring up in terms of my personal experience is that I play in a band. We have a sister relationship with the Ottawa band, and twice a year, either they come here or we go there. They don't want to come here anymore. They're afraid to cross the border. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ana Estevez, and I am an independent voter in Canton, New York. I am a professor and a scientist, and I'm here to talk a little bit about science and the proposed budget cuts that the Trump administration has issued in the budget proposal. A 20% cut in the budget of the National Institutes of Health is not good for our country. These cuts will affect everyone in every district of this nation. Why? Because the research that is funded by the National Institutes of Health helps all of us. It helps advance cancer research, neuroscience research. It's something that is going to eventually affect all of us, and I think it's very, very short-sighted for this administration to make such a huge impact on one of the nation's leading funders of scientific research, including at Clarkson, including at smaller universities, but also at big medical centers. And so this is not only going to impact individual people's health, it's going to impact the economy in terrible ways. And so, Congresswoman Stefanik, I ask you, when the president is proposing to build a wall that has impacts monetarily, billions and billions of dollars on our nation's economy in a negative way, it's going to have a negative ecological impact, in terms of the animals and the species that are on the border. And yet, we don't care about our nation's health and funding the infrastructure that is the scientific infrastructure in our nation. It's very short-sighted, and I hope that you do not vote for that budget.
Thank you.
Hello again, Representative Stefanik. I'm Natalia Singer, and I teach in Canton, New York. I'm coming to the microphone again because I am very, very frightened that Donald Trump is going to get us all killed. Not only has he declared war on the earth by putting climate change deniers in power and cutting the EPA and science, but where is the oversight for all of the war making he has done in the last week alone? On Thursday, he dropped the largest non-nuclear bomb ever in Afghanistan. Earlier in the week, he dropped 59 Tomahawk missiles, and now he is speaking recklessly about war with Korea. Where is the congressional oversight?
Thank you.
Hi, Ms. Stefanik. My name is Caitlin Hill, and I'm a resident of Canton, New York. And I would just like to speak with you about, to make you aware of my concerns regarding our society's attitudes towards domestic violence and sexual assault, and what I see as your complete indifference and disregard for these issues. As a young woman whose chances of being raped at college was 1 in 4, and as someone who has been employed at our county's only domestic violence and sexual assault agency, I am disgusted that you have not been able to make a stand against something that is so pervasive in our society, and appalled that our country can be so divisive when it comes to our president's blatant misogyny. I hope that you realize how many women are looking at you and counting on you to be their voice, and sincerely hope that you can show me that you are listening to me and my generation, my peers, whose #1 threat is being victimized, and make a stand by holding abusers like our president accountable for their words and actions. Thank you.
Good evening. Congresswoman Stefanik, you know you could have been here. This is Democracy in Action. This is a quiet group. When we reschedule this, we'd like you to come. Out of 62 counties in the state of New York, I'm sure you know that we're the 2nd or 3rd poorest county. The number of homeless people are growing by leaps and bounds, unfortunately. Even though we've got 5 colleges, there are no jobs up here. You need to come to this county and listen to us and work with us. In another realm, having lived in Washington for 15 years and in Africa for a number of years, I helped organize the Peace Corps. Under the present budget that's been submitted, or at least been talked about by the administration, they want to eliminate not only AIB, but the Peace Corps. A Peace Corps helps develop a middle class, which we pretty much lost in this country. We hope that you could speak out on a number of issues that we would like to raise with you when you come to us next time we schedule this meeting to fit your calendar. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is Barbara Shell, and I live in Evans Mills, approximately 10 miles away from Fort Drum. War is not good for mankind. The reason why we cannot afford to take care of our people is because we are putting all of our money into the military, and we have put it on a pedestal. It is pathetic that we feel that the thing we can be so proud of is our strong military presence in the world. We should be looking to take care of our people. When as a caseworker for 20 years, I have been and living in our area for 50, I have seen major changes, especially since Fort Drum has been expanded. One of the things I see is that we have so many young men harmed, coming back with traumatic stress disorder, coming back with traumatic traumatic brain disorder. You go to the store, you see amputees. These will not be fixed, no matter how many nice devices you make. We are harming our people by our stress on the military. Let's take care of our people. When are you going to speak up and not just be smiling on TV and how proud you are of the military? Yes, we're proud of the men, but it's pathetic that so many of them, the only way they can get education is to go and risk their lives, going time and time again, and coming back. We have resultant domestic violence. We have a grand capacity for violence. And no wonder, because we are a violent nation. Please change that. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is John O'Connor. I'm from Augsburg. I'm a Vietnam veteran and a retired federal employee. I have sent you an email which you so far have chosen to ignore. I'd like to read parts of it. I listened to your questions of Albright and Hadley. It appears you are on the right track. Some other topics you may be interested in following. You are a member of two of the most vital government committees in the U.S. House of Representatives. You are a member of the House Armed Forces Services Committee and the DoD Intelligence Overhead Architecture, NSA Cybersecurity, which has direct influence on DoD resources. The House Armed Services Committee gives you access to obtaining the intelligence information on the electric grid from DoD Defense Intelligence Agency, DIA, and Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, DARPA, for advanced technology. DARPA is one of the finest futuristic technology innovative agencies in the world. The electric grid can be penetrated by cyber attack hackers, EMP, falling trees as August 2003, or low-tech automatic weapon assault rifle like April 2013 in California. Hope you have heard about things of the internet. With no standards in place, it becomes easier for hackers. As a constituent of the 21st, we should be concerned on the electric grid infrastructure listed in the book, Lights Out by Ted Koppel. The low-tech use of a hunting rifle could take out the electric grid by attacking the step-up transformer side of the remote location in the 21st. Locations of these places can be viewed on Google Earth. I have to ask, are you ready to take responsibility for the future of the electric grid? Without the electric grid, there is no life as we know it today. Like Comey and Rogers testified on 20 March 2017 Congressional hearing, said hacking will continue. Not only the Russians, but many other individuals. Attacks on the electrical grid is not how or if, but when.
Thank you, sir. If there's anybody who has additional questions or a question that they have not asked yet, please step forward. We would love for the Congresswoman to hear all that we have to say.
In case you didn't hear it the first time.
So Eleanor will be proud. Elizabeth Brennan, Cape Vincent. There are many things going on in Washington that don't actually get voted on. Things that the Department of Education is now doing with regard to student loans, things the EPA is doing, individual budget things. There are so many things that go on that aren't necessarily going to be voted on by you. However, this does not mean you cannot speak out on these issues. And I think you need to do that. Many times I've contacted your office asking for one of these town halls in Watertown, closer to where I live. And I always get a remark, well, Representative Stefanik doesn't think these are large groups are productive. She'd rather meet with 12 people in her office. And I guess what I'm saying is that I know that some large group meetings have been loud and boisterous and rude, but those representatives of those people have managed to survive those meetings. You know? And if you can't stand up here and listen to us in person, then I'm not sure you have the backbone to stand up to big business or hate groups or anything else. Show us some backbone, please. Stand up, meet with us, and talk about all the issues going on, not just the ones you might have to vote on.
Thank you.
Ginger Story Welch from Pierpont again. And I actually have a thank you. Representative Stefanik, I would like to thank you for your vote against the Honest Act, which is not an honest act. This act passed, unfortunately, and you took a stand against it. This act will, unfortunately, require the EPA to release all of the scientific data, and much of its scientific data being made public would have to have any private medical information redacted, and the Congressional Budget Office indicated that it would be about $250 million a year to do that redaction because there's so much medical information in the studies, and this bill only gave $1 million towards it. So essentially it's going to hog-tie the EPA. And I thank you for taking the vote against it. I just wish more of the Republicans would have done so as well. You also voted against the Science Advisory Board Reformation Act, which also passed. And then this act, as you know, it prevents scientists who are receiving grants from the EPA from serving on this board and from applying for a grant within 3 years of serving on that board. So essentially it is an attempt to reduce scientists from serving on this board, and it will increase the amount of industry on the board, which is unfortunate. And I ask you to continue to support the EPA and to make your votes on the environment more consistent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is John Collins. I'm an independent voter from the town of Canton. Hello, Congresswoman Stefanik. I just wanted to say that I've been incredibly moved by what I've been hearing today from my fellow North Country residents, and whether we're talking about healthcare or the environment or violence against women or so many other issues, I find that often the response is, well, where are we going to fund the money for these things? We can't afford these things. And to me, the obvious elephant in the room here is the massive U.S. military footprint around the world. And so I was very happy to hear the remarks from the speaker from Evans Mills earlier speaking about militarization. And I can say from my own experience, I'm someone who's had the privilege of traveling and living in different parts of the world as part of my work as a teacher and as a scholar. And I've lived in Southern Africa, I've lived in the Middle East, I've lived in Europe. And I've seen firsthand the direct effects of U.S. militarism in many communities. Whether we're talking about countries where you have thousands of landmines, children with their limbs blown off, people living under military occupation, directly funded by American taxpayers. And I'm concerned not only for financial reasons, because those are resources that could be used to help people at home. I'm also concerned about the moral implications of that and the way that the United States is regarded around the world. And so I'd like to ask you, Congresswoman Stefanik, any chance that you have to ask the tough questions about military spending, to ask what the long-term consequences may be when it comes to U.S. military intervention for Americans, for people around the world, for refugees. And lastly, I want to say that we have an absolute moral responsibility, given our foreign policy, to open our doors to refugees who are seeking shelter from around the world. Thank you.
My name is John Casserly. I live here in Canton. Hello, Congressman Stefanik. There is so much to talk about, and I only have 2 minutes. So maybe I'll come back again, but I probably won't. So I'll just throw a whole bunch of stuff out there. First of all, I do not like the direction our country is going in. When I look at my granddaughters, I wonder what their life is going to be like. I've had a good life. I really have. I was born in 1945, and if I had to do it over again, I'd do exactly the same things I did. And I've benefited from this country, all the things that it offered to me. I felt that I owed this country something with my life. And that's the way I spent it, being interested in the community, the world around me, my family. So I don't like where we're going. I don't like the way we're going towards money. I don't like the influence of the military, and that we revere it so much that it's able to get away with what it wants to do. There doesn't seem to be enough civilian control, and the civilians that are controlling the military go hand in hand with the military. So it's, you know, everybody shakes each other's hand kind of deal. And the money that gets spent in the military away from social programs is, I don't even have a word for that. It's not going towards the people. And the military will make the argument that they're protecting the people, but there's a lot of social programs that will be defunded to enhance the military at this point. That's the way the Trump administration wants to go. And I'm disappointed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, if I have another chance, I'll say something.
In 1 moment.
Hello again, Congressman Stefanik. I am disheartened by the rise in this country of people who feel that they can spew hate speech about others. Anti-immigrant speech, anti-LGBT speech, anti-Semitic speech, and it seems to come from the very top levels of this government. And I wish you would speak out. I wish you'd speak out on behalf of minorities, not just in your district, but throughout our nation. I wish you would speak out on behalf of immigrants, not just in your district, but across this nation. I wish you'd speak out on behalf of all minorities. Right now, your silence is deafening, and I think you need to be strong to support us. Thank you.
Thank you.
John Casserly again. I'm looking back at some of the things I admire in American history, and one is the Constitutional Convention of 1787. And as much as I've read about it, it's not extensive, but it is something. One of the, at the end of the day, and it took quite a number of days to get this thing done, in the heat of the summer in Philadelphia, with all the windows closed and all the public not allowed to be in, which I can understand that. But they did come up with a constitution, and the reason they did was because they compromised with each other. And that took a lot of work. It was a lot of work. And seem like that's going on right now. The idea of compromise is being lost. And it's one of the bedrock aspects of our country. And if we're going to lose the art of compromise, we're going to be in big trouble, more than we are right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Elise. My name is Kevin Akers. I'm from Matthews. We know each other well. I have a confession to make that when I turned 18 in 1976, I registered as a liberal. Now, there should be a lot of sea of green behind you, but there's not. So, there's been a lot of comments today about what they want you to do and what you haven't done. I want to thank you for what you have done. And as far as immigrants, the H-2A program, we'd like to move that to the USDA, and then that would secure for farmers a year-round labor force opportunity so that people could come out of the hiding and enjoy the fruits of their labor here in America and here in the North Country. I support the military families, and I know you do, Elise, also. One of the things that I'm proud that you were a co-sponsor was the Military Caregivers Act, so that families can care for their wounded and the amputees and the paraplegics. We have a big opioid abuse problem here in America, particularly here in St. Lawrence County. I have friends whose sons are suffering from addiction. They have difficulties getting their sons into treatment centers. I'm proud that you have sponsored the Opioid Abuse Act. Thank you.
Thank you. If there are any more questions or statements, maybe if you said something before, you'd like to say something again?
Well, Mr. Stefanik, I'm Chuck Moorish, Town of Potsdam. I've been almost getting up, and every time I do, somebody's already stolen my thunder. So I have one that hasn't been mentioned yet, and that's gerrymandering. And by both parties, that needs to stop. We need to have an independent commission to set up voting districts at all levels and just be done with this politics and the political party in power changing it so they get re-voted in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Anne McDonough, and I'm from Toronto, Canada. And I come down here a lot. My daughter goes to school here and supports the economy. But what I really want to say is that the current administration here frightens us in Canada. They're very different from the way we think. And it also frightens the world, but more importantly, frightens our allies. So things have to change.
Thank you.
I'm back again, John O'Connor. All my grandparents were born outside the U.S. My mother was born outside the U.S. I am a U.S. citizen, served in the military. My brother decided to go to Canada. I picked on him hard, but I now accept why he did it. And I am in the process of getting my Canadian citizenship along with U.S. because I think it's safer today to travel on a Canadian passport than a U.S. passport. Please, Mr. Stefanik, answer my emails. Thank you.
Hi, this is Carol Simpson again from Stockholm. Since we have the time, I've thought a lot about the position that our representatives are in, especially in the North Country, which did vote for Trump. I can appreciate the difficulty in trying to figure out what you should be doing and who you should be supporting. I'm going to make this suggestion. Don't only think with your head, think with your heart. That's what's going on in this country. Money has become the only thing that's important. And we need to get back to what's really important, which is us, the people, the power of the people. And we need to help each other and work together toward the greater good for all. The continued greed is just overwhelming, and I feel like the people that are that greedy are not even part of my own species. There's got to be a way that you can come together and figure out how to share the great wealth in this country. It just comes down to stop being greedy. I don't know how you can implement that, but I want you to think with your heart and not just with your head. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's talk about that wall.
Could you tell us your name before you start talking about the wall?
My name is Vicki Clark. I'm from Potsdam, New York. Here's the thing about the wall. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. And unless we're going to put a wall around the Gulf of Mexico and up and down both east and west borders, and maybe a wall across Canada, we're not going to stop anybody who really wants to get here. So forget the wall, spend the money elsewhere, at least get on the right side of a lot of the issues that are being expressed here today. Your rich donors don't vote you in, but I can tell you who votes you out.
Thank you.
Hi, Elise. My name's Edward Robertson. I live in Theresa, New York. And I've got a couple of suggestions, questions. One of the earlier questions referred to the cap on Social Security pay-ins for workers. After $127,000, you no longer get the 3.5% taken out of your pay for Social Security. So with the one tax reform, or the income tax information we got from the president, I think it was 2005, he made $155 million. That would equate to about $5 million at 3.5%. I don't have my calculator, but I think it's about $5 million. So that would be about what 250 Social Security recipients might receive in a year in retirement benefits at 20 grand a year. So when you make over $127,000, you're lucky enough to be in that position, all of a sudden you get this gift where you don't have to pay the tax anymore on Social Security. And over the years, we've had several raids of the Social Security Trust Fund. I'm just curious, I'd be interested in seeing a report on that. I've looked for that information over the years, how many millions or billions have been taken out of the Social Security Trust Fund. But I'd be interested to know that, and the people who are the luckiest and the strongest at that low level can stop paying in, and the poorest and the least capable and the neediest are deprived of their, we're being threatened that the Social Security Trust Fund is running out.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm Juanita Babcock. I vote in Norwich, New York. I read a recent article in the New Yorker, which greatly concerned me, regarding the freedom of the press and how the manipulation by the Trump administration of who gets to come in, where they get to sit, and who is recognized by the podium. I'm very concerned about that because it's a deliberate attempt to silence freedom of the speech, really. I also want to talk about the war on women as I see it. I believe that the Pay Equity Act should have been passed a couple of years ago. It wasn't. It was vetoed in the Senate. The domestic violence that is rampant in this country, the rape culture on campuses. I also, like this gentleman behind me, right after the election, I went up to Canada. I looked at several properties, and I also, because of the things that I've mentioned, will be becoming a Canadian citizen within the next 2 years. I am terrified and I am shocked at the momentum of this country that is increasingly pro-corporation and anti-individual. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, my name is Will Rivers from Canton, New York, and I appreciate everyone that has shown up today. This definitely feels like a positive step. And two issues that are particularly of concern to me. The first one, excuse me, is concerning the Affordable Care Act. And the Republican plan that failed was a plan that was predicted to result in fewer people being able to afford insurance. And that's something that would directly impact thousands of people in District 21. And I was particularly upset by the fact that it wasn't clear, Representative Stefanik, how you were going to vote on that. And after it failed, your press release led with the statement that Obamacare is a failure. And I disagree. And I strongly encourage you to work to make it better. It's not perfect, but what it has done for your district is huge. The other issue that I'm particularly concerned about, that I believe you can have a voice to address, concerns climate. You're on a group that I believe is called Climate Solutions. And from what I see, the current administration is taking many steps that will add to the problem of climate change. Please make a statement about the importance of climate change. It's an issue that's particularly a problem in District 21, looking at our future and our reliance on snow in the wintertime. And so I encourage you to make your voice heard for yourself and for your constituents. Thank you.
Thank you.
John Dietrich again. You know, we brought you a lot of things tonight that are very relevant, and I hope you pay a lot of attention to them. And you know, we say America is the greatest country in the world. And we certainly are the most powerful country in the world, which may be part of our problems today. But I'd like to offer just a slightly different vision for you to measure how great America is. And I'd like you to set up a new measurement that the prosperity of the least among us is the measure of what makes a country great. Not how much you can make in a year or how many millions people can make, but how well those that are not doing as well, how they prosper and how they get health care. That would make America great.
Thank you.
Hi, Elise, me again, Ed Robertson from Teresa. I wanted to talk about water. Your district stretches from Lake Champlain through all the beautiful river valleys that flow into the St. Lawrence River, north and east of the Adirondacks. And it's just critically important to all of the communities, clean water that folks use for swimming and recreating, drinking, and the Clean Water Act and the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative. All these things are hugely important to all of us voters in your district. So we really appreciate what you did with the 2014 plan, and we've got a lot of other water issues that I'm sure you're familiar with. Help us all you can with all the issues that come up regarding that valuable water for us while you're representing us there in Washington, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's try that.
Good evening, Elise. My name is Laura Dorr. I'm from Carthage, and I know that you're familiar with Carthage because we're right beside Fort Drum. I would like to start by apologizing if I look a little tired today. I was at the tax march in Syracuse, and I ran right up here so I could join my friends and neighbors in the North Country after supporting my friends in Simcoe, New York with the tax march. Also, I feel like I have a second full-time job working to support my neighbors and my friends in Carthage. We're very isolated there, and a few of us came up tonight just so we don't feel so lonely. We would like to see you, we'd like to communicate with you, and express our concerns with you. So we came up here tonight to do it on camera. And because of that, I brought some visual aids with me tonight. So I would like to address the cuts to the EPA, which includes air, climate, water, and soil. PBS, please do not support the cuts to PBS. How am I going to watch Sesame Street and Nova, Frontline, NewsHour? Grew up with most of these programs, and I would like to continue to enjoy them. And yes, Sesame Street, I love Sesame Street. So, the National Endowment for the Arts and the National Endowment for the Humanities. Art, museums, music, history, literature, philosophy, that's our culture. That is our life. That's our history. That's how we know who we are. That's how future generations will know who we are. Cutting these programs is a huge mistake, and there's no other way to express that. That would be a huge mistake. I would also like to address why did you co-sponsor H.R. 1313? My boss does not need to have my DNA, so I am very concerned about that. And also, please, no more bombs. Stop Trump's bombs. Syria, Afghanistan, Yemen, we are all concerned about where next. So please, could you address that with him? And one more thing, I couldn't bring myself to put this on a poster. Please do something about Eric Prince. He does not need to be advising Trump from the shadows. I couldn't put that on a poster. I would like to express that verbally. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, Congresswoman. My name is Rick Spencer. I'm from Clayton, New York. And I share many of the sentiments that have been mentioned earlier today, including the thank yous for some of the good things you've done. But I have a request for you. You know, last year you were one of the 10 Republicans that signed that letter that said climate change is real and we need to do something about it. And of course you've now belonged to this coalition of solutions. But I don't know what this bipartisan coalition is doing or caucus is doing. So my request for you is to get a letter signed on behalf of that coalition to oppose all the budget cuts and all the Trump executive orders that have weakened our ability to get a handle on climate change. Because if we don't, we're all sunk. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Mike Brennan from Cape Vincent. I'm so sorry, Elise, that you could not be here today. The opinions expressed by our constituents are very important, as well as those thoughts that are not expressed. As I sat here for the last hour and a half listening to the concerns of our constituents, I thought of a motto of one of the largest corporations in the 21st. And that motto is, here with you, here for you. I think you're here for us. You need to be here with us. Thank you.
Thank you. The constituents have the floor until 6. I would encourage anybody else with any statements, stories, or questions to come forward.
Lori Gilbert from South Colton. I feel compelled to say that at least I'm a registered Republican. Embarrassed and humiliated by my party on a regular basis. I do vote. I did vote for you. But I thought about changing to be an independent, but I'm just too cussed stubborn.
Thank you.
My name is Walter Conley. I'm from Boston, New York, and I have so many concerns I don't know where to focus. But I'm going to stick with the environment because there's one that did not come up, but I do want to tick off the dangers of weakening the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, things that I have seen work in my lifetime. The fact that we have ignored facts and science. I'll be doing the Science March for Science next weekend down in D.C. But also the Endangered Species Act. When I teach conservation, I always tell my students that's one of the most important pieces of environmental legislation that's ever been passed in the world. If you hear that it's going to be modernized in this climate, it just scares me.
Thank you.
Rochelle from Evans Mills. We're all very concerned about the drug abuse in our country. Why aren't we simply asking why? Why do all of these people, why are they willing to risk their lives? Is it they don't feel their lives are worth anything? We need to think about that. Everybody's how horrible it is, how rampant it is. I ask myself, how awful this is that all these people are willing to risk their lives and their lives out do not seem to be doing anything. What's this talk about the greatest nation in the world? I don't think they feel that way. Why? I want you, Elise, to tell me why you think all these young people are willing to risk their lives on drugs. What is so worthless about their lives, and how come? And what are you going to do about it? You can have all the drug rehab programs you want, but oftentimes what happens, as soon as they go out, they're back on it. Why? Sure, it's addictive, but why are they willing in the first place? Why are their lives so worthless? All these people in our country, all these young people, that they're willing to risk their lives must be, it's not worth a heck of a lot to them. You answer that. Tell me. And don't give me this business about putting money into drug rehab and all this. What are we going to make our life in the United States better so that they wouldn't even think of taking drugs? They're to escape this wonderful life for us.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lisa Torrey, and I'm from Potsdam. And I don't want to bring up any particular issue. I want to, like Lori, thank you, Lori, make a confession, and that is that I think I just barely qualify as a millennial. And I, to my shame, am one of those millennials who has never voted except when it was exciting to vote. I have never voted in a midterm election. I've never voted in a local election. And I want to make a pledge also that never again will that happen. Never again will I let an opportunity pass me by to vote. And I will be looking for someone to vote for who is, thanks also to the speaker just before me, who is looking to make lives better for people. And for people who are in our district, for people who are in our state, for people who are in our country, and also for people who are not in our country. And I don't know if that is you, Elise. I don't know if in your party it can be. But that's who I'm looking for. Thank you.
Thank you. That is a wonderful reminder that we do have voter registration forms, as well as absentee ballot forms outside this room. And I would encourage everybody, in case you are not registered, to please register to vote. Hey, good.
Representative Stefanik, my name is Tucker Canizero. I'm from Canton, New York. A few months ago, I contacted your office about how there was a way online for anybody to view your personal information, like your personal email or your phone number, Representative Stefanik. So anybody in this room, in the district, in the country, in the world, could see your own personal information that you will want them to see. Obviously, your office didn't like that, as they've since fixed it wisely. And so I would like you to work on behalf of everybody in this district to also preserve our privacy online. If any bill comes up that perhaps compromises it, to work to protect us, because obviously you didn't like it when people were threatening your privacy. So please extend that same point to us and protect our privacy.
Thank you. And thank you for helping us with sound today.
Hello, Congresswoman. My name is Stephanie Pekopsik, and I just wanted to reiterate again that what some other people have said about funding of Planned Parenthood. I called your office several times to find out what your stance was, and they told me that your stance was that other community groups could fill in for Planned Parenthood, and I totally disagree with that. This is a poor rural district, and Planned Parenthood supports women for lots of different things. Abortion is a small part of it, but also birth control and mammograms and other things that women need for health care. So I would really, really urge you to support the funding of Planned Parenthood. Thank you.
Thank you. It takes a lot of courage to get up out of your seat, to come to the front in front of your friends and neighbors and people you may not know, and to address a congressperson. It takes a lot of courage, and I applaud each and every one of you, and I thank you for being here and for doing that. I'd also like to mention that it takes a tremendous amount of courage for our congressperson to listen to us. And I would encourage her to do that, to hear what her constituents have to say, and to do what's best for her district. I'd like to invite Sarah back up, one of the organizers, to wrap this up for us. And I appreciate the opportunity to have been here and to listen to all of you. Thank you.
Thanks, Lenore, that was great. Thanks to all of you too. Thank you so much for coming, for listening to each other, for showing up. We will make sure that the representative hears from you. Congresswoman Stefanik, we want you to listen and to represent all of your constituents. So I wanted to let you know that though Congresswoman Stefanik won't be hosting town halls exactly like this one, in the near future, she will be at a televised town hall on Monday, May 8th, at Mountain Lake PBS in Plattsburgh. I'm not sure what the time is, it hasn't been posted yet. There will be 100 seats available, and the seats there are filling by lottery. So not exactly a pure town hall, but if you'd like to be heard in this format and to speak with a congressman directly, to be considered, you need to call Mountain Lake PBS and give them your email address. Does anyone want the phone number? Okay, if you want to take note, it's 518-663-9770. So I just want to thank everyone again for being here, for everyone who made this possible. This is really, I think a couple of people said that this was really moving for me. I felt many times close to tears, just not just from because your stories were so moving, but because this is democracy in action, and just listening to you and the bravery of the introverts, but of everyone to come here and to share your stories. So thank you so much. I just wanted a couple of reminders as you leave. Please be sure to check for any personal belongings. Also, make sure that you fill out and put the questionnaire that everyone received for Representative Stefanik. There's a box at one of the tables close to the door marked put your questions for Elise Stefanik here. We'll make sure that every one of these gets to the Congresswoman. Also, please leave the agree, disagree signs on one of the tables in the back, or just hand them to one of us, one of the organizers, or the ushers or greeters. And, as Lenore mentioned, there are voter registration forms. So if you are not registered, or if you know someone who's not registered, please take them with you. You can fill them out here. We can drop them off at the Board of Elections for you, or you can submit them yourself. But I just want to also just give everyone a real round of applause again. Thank you so much.
Take care, have a wonderful weekend.